Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Hafiz bin Asa, and I'm the one who's going to present about the movement of the skill. So basically, for our group, we choose the spike technique for this presentation, and I'm the one who the first presenter of today. So let's move on to the our presentation. I will show you some of the information about the movement of the skill. So let's go to the first thing. Okay, first thing first, as you know, for your information. So the history of a spike technique, we know that volleyball is one of the part of popular sports in this world, and is actually formed known as Mintonette, was created in 1965 by William G. Morgan, 4 years after basketball was founded. So, as you know, when some sport were created, we know that a lot of techniques and a lot of movement that create also. So, in 1916, the Philippines created the set and spike, which an aggressive tactic of passing the ball high in the air to be instructed by another player. So for the spike technique is also related to the anatomical reference position. As you know, anatomical position describe the body position when it is standing erect and facing forward, which each arm hanging on other side of the torso and palms facing forward. So we know that the anatomical reference have a three main important part that we have to know, which is sagittal plane, frontal plane, and transverse plane. So for the picture, we can see the three things, main things that we have to know. So let's move on to the step of the spike technique. So there are four things that we can know and for the spike technique, which is the first one is set up for the spike, upward movement, top of the movement path, and downward movement. So all these things we're gonna discuss one by one. So let's move on to the first step, which is set up for the spike. So as you know, for this technique, it's actually majority in a sagittal plane. So this is the line of the sagittal plane. And as you know, as you can see from the picture, there are three things which is that I'm highlighted, which is the first one is the hand. We know that the both of the hand is performing the hyperextension to support or to make sure that the body is stable. So for the foot, as you can see for the foot, the in front, this is he performing the dorsiflexion, and from the back, he performing the plantar flexion. So let's move on to the second one, which is upward movement. So for our upward movement, they also have a three main position, three main thing that I'm highlighted, which is from the front. As you can see from the picture, the dominant hand was performing the flexion to make sure that he target the ball when before performing the spike technique. And also for the non-dominant hand, he also performing the flexion. And we can see for the foot, he performing the plantar flexion, which is to add or to give the power when jumping. So let's move on to another step, which is stop of the movement. As you can see for the picture, we can see the dominant hand is a little bit by bending, and he performing the hyperextension, while for the non-dominant hand, is performing the extension. So we know that flexion is up, away from our body, and extension is which is uh, dekat in our body. Okay, so we can see also for the foot, both of his foot is up in the air and a little bit bending. So the last step, which is downward movement, we can see for the shoulder, he performing the extension, and both of hand also performing the extension. And the last for the foot, when the end of the technique, he performing the plantar flexion to stabilize the body. So I think that's for my part. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Amirul Mini Miroslan. My material number is 20201577. Okay, I will continue for my part. So my part is bone, muscle, and joint in volleyball, which is the skill is a spike. Alright, so let's go to next slide. Okay, first bone. In a volleyball spike, athlete make contact with the ball via the carpals and phalanges. This is example for short bonds in the hand. Then up the arm to the radius and ulna, and finally the humerus, which connect to the shoulder. Okay. Volleyball player will also use the bond in their legs to propel themselves upward in order to perform a spike. This bone include the femur, fibula, and the feet, which are made up of metatarsal. The patella is a sesamoid bone that connect the aforementioned bones. The action also requires the vertebra, which is an irregular bone, as it gives the body structure to them perform the volleyball spike. Alright, joint. Okay, this one for fasa 1 and fasa 2, which is a setup for spike and upward movement. In order to strike the ball quickly with a volleyball spike, athletes must jump up and load power through their arms. Synovial joints, such as hinge joints through the knee and elbow, ball and socket through the shoulder, and cordelloid through the wrist, are used in the main joints of a volleyball spike. Primarily use synovial joint in the knee from start to finish via a spike motion. The synovial joint is highly mobile due to the synovial fluid that line the bones, allowing for a wide range of motion. Volleyball player must use this when performing a spike because they must quickly change direction and bend their knee to create momentum to jump up. The femur and tibula join to form the knee, which has a kneecap on the outside. This offensive move necessitated a 3 to 5 step approach, a vertical jump, and an arm swing. Alright, this one for joint for bases 3 and 4. This primarily using the acromioclavicular joint and sternoclavicular joint to swing the hand while in the air. When about to jump, it used the synovial and ankle joint, and when doing spike, he used the elbow and shoulder joint. Alright, the next slide for the muscle. This one for the bases 1 and 2. When taking a step to do a spike, the muscle used at that time were the hamstring and quadricep. Instead, the muscle for the upper body are used by the latissimus dorsi and the trapezius elbow to take the hand step to rise into the air when the spike. Alright, so this one for muscle pieces 3 and pieces 4. When hitting, the muscles that are used even more than before are the bicep and tricep. When they take their approach for hitting, the leg muscles are once again used. They jump as high as they can and then swing their arm as fast as they can to get a quick hit. So, that's all for me. Thank you.
Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And hi, my name is Muhammad Aiman Mikhail Anwar and my matrix number is 2020117709. So for my part, I will explain about the task analysis for spike skill in volleyball. So next is these are the four phases in spike, which is setup for spike, upward movement, top of the movement path, downward movement is the last one. Right, so the first one is setup for spike. This is the first phases in spike. Okay, the first thing is to gain speed on the ground prior to jumping, and then speed is transferred into the height of the approach jump, and the last one is horizontal force is converted into a vertical force. Alright, so before we do the setup, we must to gain our speed to get the momentum before we jump, and then the speed for the run it will transfer into the jump, and then the horizontal, which is when we run forward, is converted into a vertical jump, which is when we jump in the air. Right, next is the upward movement. We must have the most vertical acceleration and then overcome inertia and arm swing. Right, so to do the upward movement, we must to swing our arm from the back to the upward movement to get the higher momentum to jump higher. And then next is the top of the movement path. The first thing is the ball should be hit while reaching up high with the arm straight, elbow extended and reaching directly overhead, and then contact at the peak of the leap to generate the most power and accuracy. So basically is to hit, we must to make sure when we hit the ball, when our hand is reaching the ball, we at the highest position in the air to get the most powerful spike. And then make sure when do the spike, we must to make sure the elbow is extended and then um, reaching directly over our head like this to get the most powerful uh, spike that we can do. And the last one is downward movement. This is very simple. Yeah, is it is follow through movement, clean and recover quickly. So the last thing is to recover quickly and to continue the game. Is the movement when we landing on the ground back to continue the game. So I think that's all from my part. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. And today I'm going to be explaining about steps for maximizing volleyball spike skill performance. I'm Muhammad Nabil bin Azam. My matrix number is 2020586691. So let's go for the steps for maximizing volleyball spike performance. So the first one is quickly approaching. To jump hard, you must move quickly, focus on taking rapid steps, particularly the last couple, to optimize your jump height. Second one is extend your arm backs. Swinging your arm backs allows you to use elastic energy and your nervous system stretch reflex, which can add inches to your vertical. The third one is raise both of your arms. By raising both of your arms, you will maintain your upward momentum, allowing you to maximize your height. You will also be in a better body posture to spike the ball. Number 4 is spiking the ball by rotating the hips and shoulder in the air. When you turn your body as you prepare to hit the ball, you may hit it considerably harder. The key to turning and hitting is to always remember to open out the hips and shoulders. So when you are about to hit, don't keep your back to net. The fifth one is make contact with the ball just in front of your striking shoulder. It's ideal to make contact with the ball in the same location every time. This helps to build a constant arm swing. That's all for me. Thank you.